All right, Joe Leigh here, 4 seconds out is Sam Jones, half of S-Jam Boxing here at Wembley. We're here at the VR Meet Space Zero Latency, I think it's called, round the corner from where Joe's going to be fighting Carlos Takam. Not long ago now, less than a month, July 24th. Are you looking forward to it? You must be.
Yeah, I always look forward to when Joe fights. It's a really big fight for Joe. As I say, it's very important. He can't afford any slip-ups now.
What happens if he does slip up then? Like, because he's obviously 35.
We don't think like that. We don't think like that. Joe's not going to slip up. He's going to do the job.
I spoke to you, I think, less than a month ago, and we were discussing how Dubois was a big fight at the time, but now it's getting close to the Carlos Takam fight. I know we'll speak about it in a minute. People are saying you got little spies, like jokes in Carlos Takam's go. Is Carlos Takam the toughest test of Joe's career?
That's not a joke. We've watched every spar of his. I think but -2. We've watched all of his spars.
Which ones did you think were good? Did you think there was any weaknesses in his game and sparring?
It's just what he brings. Like, we know what his game plan is. We know what he's looking to do, and it's going to be a great fight. He's going to ask questions of Joe, especially early on. It's going to be a great fight for the fans. It really is going to be a really good fight for the fans. It could be a war.
Why Carlos Takam then? Because obviously he's fought Dubois and he's beat him convincingly. That was the biggest win of his professional career, and it proved a lot to a lot of different people. The way boxing works, you don't always have to take the toughest fight.
I don't believe it was the biggest win on like as maybe a fan's perspective, but Bryant Jennings is Joe's best win in my opinion. Bryant Jennings is a good fighter. Takam, for me, is a harder fight than Dubois for Joe. He's smaller, he's boxed at the world level, he's tough, he's got a good chin. That's just my opinion. I think it's a harder fight for Joe.
So why have you gone from Dubois, which is it's a good opponent, but why have you? Because people would have probably.
This is where you slip up at the highest level. What's the point fighting Daniel Dubois and then going all the way back down again and fighting somebody that's not coming to win? We've got to keep him on his toes. If we're going to fight for world titles, we need to fight world level fighters, and that's what Takam is.
I completely agree. So the way the heavyweight division's panning out, how soon do you think Joe Joyce could genuinely get a title? Because obviously, do you think 2022?
We spoke to Frank, and he's confident that he can get Joe a world title shot next year. So it's going to be next year.
And how do you think that would play out? Do you think that means AJ's not going to fight Fury until after you guys fight him?
Who knows? Nobody knows anything, do they, about whether Fury's going to fight AJ or whether they're ever going to fight each other. But all we know is Joe will fight for the world heavyweight title next year.
Were you this confident when it came to Joe fighting Usyk as you are as Joe fighting for the world title in 2022? Does that make sense?
Always confident in him because listen. Some people might not. I don't know. They say things and stuff like I was criticised before the fight. What I was saying and my confidence. I've lived with Joe. I know what he's capable of. I know the type of styles that could potentially cause him a problem, but I also know the styles that cannot beat him. And I always said Daniel Dubois' style cannot beat Joe. It's not happening. Joe could be 45 and still fight Daniel Dubois and beat him. If they fight 10 times, Joe will win 10 times.
I heard you just mention in another interview, you feel like Joe's personality's coming out a little bit more. You've obviously known him for a long time. Do you think it's helped sell the fight in the build-up to this?
Coming out more, do you reckon?
No, I do. The reason I said it is because I think
It's promotion that Queensberry have done a fantastic job for this promotion. It's rightly so because Joe needs that. Daniel Dubois was the top man, the top boy. He was with Frank from the beginning, and Joe's beat him. So that's how you take someone's position, and Joe's getting the treatment that he deserves. And as I say, we're grateful to BT and Queensberry. They've done a really good job for this campaign for Joe's fight.
I want to quickly run through the rest of the stable very quickly, but before I do, how many fights do you think he could have one more before the end of the year and then fight for the world title, or is it Takam then the world title?
No, we think we're going to try and get Joe out again before the end of the year. Obviously, you can't preempt stuff. Like, we don't want to. Takam, nobody's overlooking Takam. I think he thinks Joe's overlooked. No chance. Joe's trained for this fight harder than ever. So we don't overlook him, but we are trying to get Joe out as this will be his first fight of this year. So we need to get him out again.
Let's quickly go through the stable. John Hedges, I don't know if this was out. We can cut it out if we have to. But he was meant to fight at Fight Camp, I believe, and he's not.
No. I believe. No, John Hedges was never scheduled to fight in Fight Camp. I think John Hedges is going to fight potentially on September the 4th, or a week later than that. But he's going to fight. He's going to fight very, very soon. John Hedges.
Johnny Fisher.
Johnny Fisher's fighting August the 7th against Danny Whitaker at Fight Camp.
You You've got a new American as well, recently announced. Tell me about him for the people who don't know.
Absolute mustard, and he's like must watch. Darius Fulgham is going to be a superstar. Number one ranked heavyweight in the United States. Golden Gloves winner in 2018. Going to box and campaign at light heavyweight. Big problem. Going to be a superstar.
And you said you've been watching him for a while when you announced.
Yeah. Been watching scouting, but kind of watching, been in touch with him for 2 years. Been following him. He's a huge talent, and he's funnily enough, even though he's done so well as an amateur, he's going to be even better as a pro. Have it, power in both hands.
Solomon
Dacres, good fight for him, going to be announced very soon, September the 4th.
Still quite early on in his career. He's definitely spoken about not wanting to fight at a low level for very long.
He's 27 years old, game as a hooker in Amsterdam, gonna fight everybody. Sol's one of those guys, very similar to Joe. Literally, the names I've been presenting to him, no problem. Sol's an animal, fight anybody.
Is that game as a hooker in Amsterdam reference, from past experience?
No, it's not game from past experience. It's an analogy. Cut that out.
Lerrone Richards.
Lerrone Richards. Our team's in talks at the moment to make a very good fight for Lerrone. We'll see where that goes. But listen, he's coming off a tremendous win, and he kind of announced himself as a really top level super middleweight, and it's now time to progress him to the world level, which we believe he can win a world title.
Is it frustrating being in the super middleweight division for him, because like a lot of people say Canelo kind of needs to just go, because then other people the belts can be freed up? Like,
I think Canelo will end up the belts will end up becoming vacant anyway in the next year or so, and Lerrone will get his opportunity. Whether that's it's far fetched at the moment, but you never know. Lerrone could have a huge win in his next fight, and then he puts himself in the Canelo sweepstakes, doesn't he? So who knows what's going to happen? But realistically, probably not. He will end up fighting for hopefully a vacant world title. But Lerrone's capable of causing anybody in that division problems with his style, his elusive style.
Big fight for him next then. Do you have like 3 names on your mind? I know with boxing you never set.
You'll find out soon.
A big name.
Big name, yeah, big name.
I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Who haven't we gone through? Florian.
Florian Marku. There'll be news. I mean, he's scheduled to fight. He's scheduled to fight Prodan on August the 7th.
Brilliant. That's going to be an extremely exciting one. And obviously at fight camp we saw him and Conor Benn sort of clash.
Cody Davis has been injured. He had a bicep injury. Was scheduled to have a really good fight not long ago. Had to pull out, unfortunately. Hopefully get him back in the ring very soon. Lisa Whiteside, she's been out the ring a very long time. She gave birth to a lovely little boy, and she's going to win a world title. She's going to be back before the end of the year.
2 more questions then. On Florian versus Conor, I know you've been building that one up for a long time.
As well, Guido will be back out in October in a very good fight as well.
Do you think Conor Florian happens in the next 2 years? Because I feel like it's going to happen whether we like it or not.
It's what it is. Like, Conor's on his own path. I know it always comes across but I really like Conor Benn. I like his attitude. I like what he's doing. He's been matched impeccably by Matchroom. His route is really good. So he's not going to look back and because Florian's behind him at the moment, on paper is behind him. I still believe that he's fought, do you know what I mean, really good opponents. Like, Conor's not really boxed anyone with a do you know what I mean, 8, I think his last fight, Vargas, 8 losses, like this one, 8 losses. I don't know, but Conor's doing his thing, isn't he? Conor's doing his thing, he wants to fight for a world title, but the him versus Marku fight, I would think it's got to happen. It'd be a huge fight. It sells out the O2 Arena, and you can't turn your nose up at something that can sell out the O2 Arena.
And this is the last question, so answer as long or as quick as you want. You've spoken in the past about having a smaller stable because you can focus on as many fighters, like genuinely focus on them a lot more than having, say, 20, 30 fighters. You're obviously constantly adding to that stable at SJAM.
Constantly added. I think that's our first signing in about a year.
Yeah, that's not true, but kind of like people are turning pro. Is that still the plan for like the rest of your career as like head of SJAM, half head?
I think me and Adam, when we first started SJAM, we had a vision. We wanted to keep it like a tight knit group, and that's the way we're always going to keep it. We're not going to exceed. We're not going to get into signing fighter after fighter because we're very lucky. We get approaches all the time I'm sure as other managers do, but we get approached very very often to try and we turn down top talent because we invest time. Like Darius, I spent 2 years watching him, and I've set eyes on, like, we've got another target. Whether we get him, whether we don't, it's one of them. But Darius,
What weight?
I'm not telling you.
Not even the weight. I'm not going to be able to know.
Nah.
Is he young? Has he turned pro yet?
You know, he's not pro, and he's. I don't look at pros that are with other managers. For me, if they're pro, they're with somebody else. Like, you look at the amateur seps and you kind of bring them through. Like, Darius, very, very excited about him.
Do you think that does help when it comes to scouting talent? They know that you're loyal and you only have a small group, so they feel like they're maybe more willing to join.
It depends. Listen, we're not for everybody. I'm not for everyone. Do you know what I mean? They might feel fucking annoying bastard. Do you know what I mean? No, it's true, isn't it? Like, I might not be for everybody. I believe I'm very, very good at what I do. Adam's very, very good at what we do, and we bounce off each other very, very well, and we work very well with each other. So we do a great job for our fighters, and we're not like, I'm not insecure about that. We do an amazing job for our fighters, and we love our fighters. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not for everybody. Somebody might think, fucking hell, I wouldn't even have a chat with him. Could kill him. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not for everyone, but I am for some people. And like, we're very happy with the group of fighters we've got.
July 24th, then predictions. Takam Joyce.
Joyce by a TKO.
Round.
I'm not going to give you a round, but I believe it's going to be a tricky start for Joe, because Takam's going to throw everything at it. But when a 19-stone man is jabbing your nut in constantly and putting pressure on you and leaning over you and making it, it depends what kind of fight Takam brings to Joe. If Takam comes to try and fight Joe, it could end early. If Takam's a bit more clever, who knows, it could go points. But I wouldn't mind either way. But a Joe Joyce win.
Nice one.